Hello, I hope you're doing okay. Welcome to my blog, The Truth That Set Me Free. When I stopped using alcohol to cope, I channeled my energy into something healthier instead, learning about the human mind. A few weeks into my sober life, I noticed the cloud clearing from my vision and started to enjoy reading much more than I used to when I was drinking. This was partly down to the fact that my brain was more receptive to absorbing new information, thanks to no longer having to contend with the numbing and dumbing effects of alcohol. It was a psychologist who introduced me to a fascinating and transformative approach to therapy called IFS, Internal Family Systems, which allowed me to see that I wasn't defined by my drinking alone. It's a common trap that people fall into when they get labelled alcoholic by others, or indeed label themselves in this way. Yes, we might have a part of us that has tendencies towards maladaptive behaviours such as substance abuse or gambling, but that is only one part of the story that makes up a person. We are all a series of parts. The IFS model of therapy is based on the belief that the mind is naturally multiple, meaning that it is made up of many parts and all of them matter at one point in time or another. Our inner parts contain valuable qualities and our core self knows how to heal, allowing us to become integrated and whole. Each of our journeys is unique to us, and with the right support, we can gain greater insight into and appreciation for the role the various parts have played and may continue to play in our own self-development. Think about yourself for a moment in terms of the various parts that you may have, be it parent, worker, carer, loner, party animal, heavy drinker, overeater, gym junkie, people pleaser, rebel, workaholic, fitness fanatic, etc., etc. Be curious about the role the various parts might play in your life, and be compassionate towards those parts because they came to be for a reason. For a very long time, I felt deeply shameful because I was abusing alcohol. I hated who I was because Jill the drinker was a loser in my opinion, and that was the only part I could see at the time. It was as though I defined myself in this way, and in doing so, sent a message out to the world that I was nothing but a loser. Enter stage left, IFS. This new perspective taught me that Jill the drinker, once upon a time, had a protective role to play in my life at times when I found it too hard to deal with my feelings. She helped me through difficult times, especially moments when I genuinely believed the only way out was by ending my life. This was a light bulb moment for me. To be able to admit that drinking had, at one point in my life, saved me from self-destructing. The irony of this is not lost on me, but it is a powerful insight into how there was a time and a place for my drinking, until it became more problematic than protective. At the time that my need to drink actually developed, I was plagued with feelings of not belonging because I believed I was bad. The truth is, I was told I was a bad child for making poor choices. That's how some kids were brought up back in the day. I didn't know how or who to ask for help at the time. The wounded inner child part of me went unnoticed. The rebel child part got all the attention in the form of punishment for making poor choices. At the age of 15, Jill the drinker came into being, and her role was to valiantly protect my wounded inner child from the pain of the past or from the pain of what was to come. Jill the drinker continued to play an active role in protecting the hypersensitive Jill from negative and scary feelings right through until I was finally able to retire her from her role in the drama that my life had become 4 years ago. This was only made possible when I understood why she existed in the first place. At the same time that I was making this breakthrough, that is, understanding that there is more to me than just being a drunk loser, I began to uncover parts of me that I had kept locked away. These are parts of me that are creative and strong, worthy and capable. Jill the drinker got in the way of Jill the creative thinker, Jill the caring person, Jill the capable employee, and kept me stuck in a dark place. Thanks to a quiet practice of meditation, I also found myself, that higher, wiser part of me that has always been there since I was born. It's a part of being human that never changes, and a part that is naturally of a happy disposition. The same part is in you too, because as human beings, we are born of the same essence. To get a glimpse of this part, you only need to take a look at a beautiful baby and observe how they live in a constant state of awe and how easily happiness comes to them. I've delved into this a bit deeper using the analogy of the buckets of water and the sunshine. That was in blog number 72, which you can always have a look at. Much of what I've written about here was happening within me at an unconscious level. It was only when I stopped drinking that I was able to clear a space for self-awareness. Slowly, with the help of my therapist, the underlying drivers of my problem drinking ascended into my conscious mind, and I could begin to make sense of them. I should point out that I am still a work in progress. I am still in the process of making sense of the content of my unconscious mind. And most days, things will pop up that annoy me, surprise me, challenge me, and remind me that I still have work to do. For example, there continues to be a lot of hurt stored away in my body that can be triggered by people and places. If I'm not careful, I can easily beat myself up for responding with anger and sadness. But thank goodness for self-awareness, because it enables me to see why this happens and gives me the space to choose how I respond to it and what I can learn from it. When we understand the why, we are more likely to go easier on ourselves. The important thing is to not get stuck in victim mode, but to emerge from that horrible dark place into the light of victor mode, where we get to choose what happens next. Let's face it, the whole reason we suffer is because deep down we want better. We want more than this suffering. To be able to make changes, we must begin to feel empowered by our own inner strength and know that we are just as deserving of happiness as the next person is. So to conclude, this week's blog is encouraging you to embrace all your parts because they came to be for a reason. Our suffering is a way of our higher self letting us know that it might be time to retire one or more parts of us that no longer serves us well, and to allow other more life-affirming parts to come to the fore so that we can thrive, not simply survive anymore. Know that it is okay to ask for help if you're struggling. Exposing the vulnerable parts of yourself to people who care and who are committed to helping you is healing. Never let anyone tell you that your struggles are something to be ashamed of, because everyone struggles at some time or another. Obviously, some people have more serious struggles than others, but ultimately, none of us is getting out of here without some form of suffering. As the leading expert in trauma and addiction, Dr. Gabor Mate wrote in his new book, The Myth of Normal, whether we realize it or not, it is our woundedness, or how we cope with it, that dictates much of our behaviour, shapes our social habits, and informs our ways of thinking. Without the mind-altering effects of alcohol, I am finding it easier to heal my wounds, embrace all my parts, be gentler with myself, and live my life on my terms. Well, that's it. I hope you took something meaningful from this today, and please share it with anyone who you think might benefit from some encouragement at this moment. Thanks for being here. Love as always, Jill.